Hi guys and dolls, how are you? So I wanted to talk to you about an incident that happened in the summer. And it goes back to the video that I did earlier today about 5 signs that a man is proving to you that he's wasting your time. Okay. And sometimes when I talk about this, for some reason, I've talked to other people about it and, close friends and whatnot. And sometimes I've actually gotten um, really upset about it. And I don't know I don't know. You know, you cannot expect a person who is mentally ill, i.e., a narcissist or bipolar or whatever, but in particular, narcissist, especially on the higher spectrum of narcissism. You expect them to have human emotions and an appropriate response to certain things, and that is not realistic because that person they're disturbed. So they're not going to behave like a person who doesn't have a personality disorder. Okay? They're not going to behave in a normal fashion because they are not normal, right? So let me just give you a little back history quickly. I have fibromyalgia, for those of you who don't know. It is chronic pain every day. Some parts of my body hurt worse than others. When the weather changes, I feel more pain. Those of us with FM, which is also what fibro is called, we are sensitive to heat. Our bodies are very sensitive to heat. And I have been thrown in what's called a flare because I was myself and my friend, another person that I knew we were at Truman Lake that particular time, and it was hot as hell. It was too hot to swim because I'm not a scientist, but I'll just break it down for you. If the lake water doesn't have a chance to cool off and it stays hot morning and night into the next day, and there's just excessive heat and the water stays warm, it can increase the bacteria levels in the water to the point where the water is not safe to swim in. Okay. So anyway, it was so damn hot, and all I could do was wade in the water because it was just too hot to swim. So the next several days when I left there, I was thrown in a flare, okay? Because the extreme heat takes a toll on our bodies, those of us who have this condition. And I called a friend of mine and I said, do we have a tendency, because she had fibro, and I said, do we go into a flare because of extreme heat? This was a long time ago. She goes, oh yeah. And so I knew why I was in bed, for the next several days. Okay, so in the summer, I had an incident that's disturbing. And it's hard to talk about. So as you know, I was involved with someone in the summer. I will not call it a relationship. I will call it a situationship. A relationship requires that you both care about each other. A relationship requires that you're on the same team, that you have each other's back through thick and thin. That's what a relationship is. So it wasn't a relationship. It was a one-way deal, and it was a situationship. So we had gone to the park. It was in the summer. It was really, really hot out. And we went to the park, and we were sitting by the creek. I have had heat-related illness before. Okay, maybe I should backtrack just a little bit. Excuse me. Prior to that, a couple years ago, Was it 2 years ago? Frick, I can't remember. I had gone to Alpine, or not Alpine, but I went to Alpine store, which is a sporting goods store. They basically had a boat demo, which is great because if you're wanting to buy a boat at some point, a different boat, you get to try. Hopefully, if they have it available, you get to physically try it out. It's free, it doesn't cost you a dime, you just have to sign up for it so they know how many boats to have available. Anyway, long story short, it was extremely hot that day. And uh bear with me. I was wearing my one piece swimmy thing, which blocks out the sun. The only problem with that is the heat was unbelievable that day. Okay. And I didn't feel it on the water because you feel a breeze on the water. Plus, I was having fun playing with the boats. Truth be told, I was having a good time. Um, and I didn't feel when it hits like a ton. I'm sorry. When it hits like a ton of bricks. When that heat hits us, it hits like a ton of bricks. So my friend, I was with my friend, or he was in the car because he didn't want nothing to do with it. It was my thing, not his. His daughter was there with the grandkids, her sons, okay? And they went swimming and they wanted me to go, but I felt really bad all of a sudden without warning. So, um, my swimming was too thick to wear on a day that was that hot. And so I should have wore something that was like a long sleeve shirt to block from the sun, but was thin enough to let air get through or something. I don't know. And I drank a lot of water. As far as I know, I did. I mean, as far as I can remember, I did. Anyway, so by the time, I guess I started looking real bad because, I'm sorry, where the freaking hell is this emotion coming from? Anyway, Anyway, a total stranger. She was working for Alpine. And I must have looked pale in the face. My face must have got white like a sheet or something. Because I must have looked really bad all of a sudden because she goes, "Would you like a water?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, that'd be good." Because I'm just trying to act normal, but I must have looked really bad because she gave me something. She gave me water to drink. And we got to talking back and forth for a little bit. And then I said, "Well, I don't feel so good, so I'm going to go ahead and leave. Thanks for having this available for us." And then she's like, "Sure, no problem." I said, "I'm going to leave because I don't feel well." And she's like, "Oh, no problem. Thanks for coming out. I'm sorry you don't feel well." She was a total sweetheart, which makes the situation I'm going to tell you about even worse. So, so, by the time I got to my friend's car, his daughters and the boys wanted me to swim with them, and I'm like, "There's no way in hell. I don't feel good." So he's sitting in the car with the AC on, thank God, and he asked me, "Do I want to swim with them?" And I'm like, "No, I don't feel well." And so by the time I got to his car, the nausea hit me like a train. I mean, bam! I mean, when the nausea hits, it doesn't have any mercy. And so I was kind of alarmed at how fast I became nauseous. And so the only thing I could do when I was sitting in the car was, whew, I gotta pull it together. I have got to pull it together. Anyway, I sat in the car, the nausea hit me, and the only thing I could do was say, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." I couldn't say anything else because the nausea was just knocking me on my ass. And I'm thinking, I don't want to puke in his car, obviously. Okay. So I'm looking at the distance from where I am in the car to where the grass is, just in case I have to make a dash for it, because obviously you don't want to puke in the person's car. So I just kept saying, "Oh my God, oh my God." And it was just awful. And so something told me, like, I guess the part of your brain that works through emergencies, okay, says, take your dive shoes off, put your feet up to the AC, unzip, part of your thing. So that's what I did, so I could get the coolness from the AC on my skin as fast as possible. So that's what I did. I took my duck shoes. They're not really duck shoes. They're like wading shoes, whatever the hell you want to call them. I don't remember what they're called. But anyway, I took them off, and my feet were bare, obviously. And so I put my feet up to the vents where the AC is, so the cool air could get to my feet. And then I unzipped my thing that I was wearing, because I'm trying to let the cool air get to my, this part of my body. And then, thank you, Jesus, I eventually cooled off. Because let me tell you, I used to work in the medical field. I'm better now because I was a patient. Like, y'all know how many surgeries I've had over the past couple of years. So I've been in and out of the hospital with this wrong, that wrong, this wrong, that wrong, broke my leg, had to have a gallbladder surgery, hand surgery, you name it. Okay. So, but I don't go there unless I have to, and I damn sure don't ask to go to I don't want to go to the doctor's office unless I have to, and I damn sure don't ask to go to the hospital. I was this close to telling my friend, I need you to take me to the ER. I didn't want to go, but I felt so bad that I'm like, I need relief and I need it now. And I was really close to saying it. But thank God we didn't even have to go on that page, because, my body cooled off really quickly with AC blasting. So that was good. And so I had another incident in the summer, and I've been down this road before, so I know what happens. It doesn't go in good places from here once it starts. So I was with the individual I was with in the summer, and I was sitting by the creek, and it was really, really hot that day, and there was no breeze by the water, which is unusual because there's usually a breeze. But there was nothing. Like, the air was stagnant. So then here comes the heat, exhaustion chasing after me, basically, while I'm sitting on the shoreline. I've got my feet in the water, but that made no difference. And the nausea, bam, slammed into me again. And I just was sitting on the shoreline, and I was going, oh God, this doesn't feel good. Oh God, I hope I don't puke. And I'm just bottoming out very, very fast. The individual that I was with deliberately got away from me while I'm going through this, went on top of the hill and stayed there, and kept saying to me a couple of times, are you ready? Are you ready? Like, are we ready to go or what? 1000% oblivious to what I'm going through. Okay? Oblivious. Now, mind you, I'm trying not to puke, because I'm just, even when you have to, you really don't want to. Let's just keep it real. You don't want to. And it took me a long time to, I don't know, maybe it felt like an hour, but it was probably like 10 to 12, 14 minutes before I had the strength to walk up the hill by myself. I was close to submerging my body in the water, but there's snapping turtles in there. There's snakes in there. I call them S's, okay? So there's S's in there. I don't know how deep the water is. There's no towels to dry me off, and I don't want to get in the car soaking wet and everything. It's just, but I feel so desperate to cool my body off that I was tempted to just soak my body in the water. I had to go through everything alone. So, person kept saying that, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Doesn't give a flying fuck that I'm sick. Doesn't care. Whew. unfazed. So by the time I made it up the hill, which was a struggle, by the way, I laid on the ground because I still wasn't feeling 100%. Okay. So I'm laying on the ground. There's nothing to lay on. Like there's very little grass where I was. It was very little grass. But I'm trying to lay down somewhere because I need to lay down. So I took my sneaker off, or I still had it off or something. I don't know. But I used my sneaker as a pillow to lay my head on while I'm laying on the ground. If you were to talk to anybody who knows me and you were to ask them, hey, does she have a tendency to just randomly lay on the fucking ground? They'd tell you, no. Okay, this isn't normal behavior. People don't just automatically lay down in the middle of Walmart, lay down in the parking lot, lay down in the grass in the park, unless they want to. But if they're having a crisis and they're laying down, it's because they're having a crisis. So I'm at the top of the hill, closer to this individual, and there was still no concern. This is what I'm telling you, people. You have got to pay attention to red flags. I should have dumped him that day. Because there are certain times in your life that you will find out that this person doesn't give a flying crap about you. If you end up in the hospital, which I told you I had surgery, and he had no concern about that either. I didn't even get so much as a phone call that day. I had to call him. Okay? Never asked me how I was feeling or anything. The motherfucker is so god dang disconnected from human beings. Okay? Disconnected. Y'all don't have to tolerate that shit. And I am kicking myself because I should have dumped him right then. How many more signs do you need? How many more signs do you freaking need? You could have passed the fuck out. I could have passed out. And maybe somebody would have called 911. I doubt that he would have. Somebody walking by would have tried to come to my aid. I'm in a situationship with this motherfucker, and a total stranger at Alpine is concerned about my well-being a few summers prior. A total stranger. I don't know her from a can of paint. And she was worried about me, which is what normal people do. What's wrong with her? This is what I'm telling y'all. When you see red flags and you see evidence that the person doesn't give a flying crap about you, you have got to move on. And you have got to not overlook it. Those are huge red flags. Me having surgery, me having a situation, a medical situation, and the person just doesn't. How many more signs do you need? And I have to forgive myself for allowing that to happen and not dump him then. I have to forgive myself for that because I wasn't protecting myself like I should have. I didn't protect myself like I should have. So I'm warning you people, do not put yourself in that situation. Learn from my mistake. Don't let them talk you out of it when you decide you're over. You dump them. Don't let them talk you out of it. Don't let them say, oh, baby, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. And this, don't. There's no way to wiggle out of the lack of concern. There's absolutely no way to wiggle out of that. There is no apology in the world that justifies that disgusting and despicable behavior. You drop them and you're done. Done. Okay? Finished. Learn from my mistake. I won't make that mistake again. You can best believe I'll never make that mistake again. I didn't protect myself like I should have. And protecting myself would be to extricate myself from a situation where I'm basically dating myself because I'm the only person that cared about me. All right? Anyway, I didn't take my vitamins or anything, medicine or anything like that, so I better jump to it. I didn't expect to get so emotional about it. I have to forgive myself because I should have protected myself from someone who didn't give a shit. It won't happen again. It won't happen again. Ever. I will make sure about that. Learn from my mistake, guys. Don't put yourself in danger and you have to deal with it alone. And you're supposedly in a relationship, or you're supposedly engaged, or you're supposedly married. That's why I'm telling you, don't rush to marry somebody, because this is the type of shit you get to deal with if you marry the wrong person. Somebody else may have to call 911 because that person doesn't give a fuck. Okay? And if the cops respond, the ambulance responds, and the cops say, and the ambulance folks say, well, what happened? I don't know, she just said she didn't feel well. Okay, well, what were her symptoms? I don't know. I just kept telling her to come on and she wouldn't. He can't tell you fuck all else because he was in his own world. He was in his own zone. Don't make the mistake I made. Okay? Love you guys. Take care.